Hi guys, I am coming to you from my kitchen floor so I can show you why we are not rushing out and engaging in the mass hysteria currently going on here about stocking up because of coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it. One, we have enough toilet paper. We usually go to Costco about once a month or a little less often depending and get a big thing of toilet paper, and that will last us for a while. We will make do with that. We are not going out to buy toilet paper. I'm wondering why more people aren't worried about diapers. The other day when I went shopping, the diaper section was full, toilet paper section empty. We have cloth diapers, so we're not worried about that anyway, but I just thought it was weird. Anyway, a few years ago when the hurricane was supposed to hit Corpus Christi, the one that hit Houston instead, when it blew in, we were supposed to get some of the effects here where we are. Obviously, we didn't end up getting that when it changed course. However, rumor got out about a potential gas shortage, which was never going to happen, but because it got out, people panicked and went out and bought all the gas and caused a real gas shortage. We kind of learned our lesson with that. One, we always just try to keep our tanks towards full, and if something like this happens, we cut back on our traveling, which we have obviously cut back on where we're going because of Ani, which if you hear noise in the background, that is her playing with Lauda. However, we did decide then to just kind of keep some pantry, non-perishable, shelf-stable items on hand, and I'm going to show you what we have sort of in our disaster preparedness, or just in the event, even if one of us got sick and couldn't go grocery shopping, we sort of have a survival kit that we keep on hand. So I'll show you that now. By the way, stay tuned until the very end for some cute baby footage and Ani's, another Ani first. So this is our kit sort of in its entirety, other than some things that we keep in the deep freeze out in the garage. But the first item I'll go over is this. It's a giant 50-ounce water bottle. We have a Brita pitcher, and we just keep this and a few other items as well as the Brita pitcher full. If we would need to, we would have plenty on hand, at least 3 days worth. And then in the kit itself, I have some adult medicine, some ibuprofen, Benadryl, and acetaminophen with caffeine. The thing with this is we just have to keep an eye on expiration dates. We also have some baby meds. So we have some, oop, that one's popping open, some baby Tylenol, some baby ibuprofen, and some baby Zyrtec. All of this has been approved by our pediatrician. And then in here, like I said, we just have a bunch of shelf-stable food. So we have a whole bunch of pasta, because you can do a bunch of things with that. Some soup, some broth, pasta sauce, refried beans, black beans, the classic ramen, a couple of these like just add water pasta side dishes, dark kidney beans, lentils, more broth, cannellini beans. We have a few cans of this tomato sauce, and great Northern beans, and peanut butter. I don't remember if I said that. So change of location, Lauda took Ani to bed, and I scooted a little further away from the hallway so as not to wake her up. But in addition to the kit that we keep in the house, we have a bunch of items in our deep freeze, like frozen vegetables, and we actually usually have some canned veggies in this kit, but the expiration date was getting close, so I went ahead and used them. Next time I go shopping, if they have canned veggies, I will pick some up. But like I said, we keep a good stock in our outdoor freezer. We keep a couple loaves of bread, a whole bunch of tortillas, more frozen water bottles just in case we needed to thaw them out, and or if we wanted to keep the stuff in the freezer frozen. The fuller it is, the longer it'll hold its temperature. Yeah, and that's really all we keep on hand for, you know, our survival here at the house. We do tend to keep our gas tanks as close to full as we can, just because of the experience from when the hurricane blew through. And that is what works for us. We have cut down on our trips out and about. Not so much for our health, although Ani, even though this doesn't seem to be, you know, super prevalent in kids, she was a preemie, so in theory, her immune system isn't quite as strong as it could be. But we've cut down on trips to enclosed public spaces or crowded public spaces, more so we don't, you know, get somebody who is susceptible sick. You know, I'm not staying at home and limiting trips out because I might get sick. I am limiting those trips because somebody, you know, let's say who's immunocompromised or elderly, has to go out. They have to go grocery shopping. and I'm not there, as well as other people aren't there who would be, you know, carriers or potentially infect them with anything, you know, the flu, even if you've had your flu shot, cold, COVID-19, coronavirus, you know, anything. The reason that you're self-quarantining isn't necessarily for your own survival, but it's for other people's. It's the same reason we need vaccines en masse, is we get, what is it called? We get, like, herd immunity or something like that. I forget what it's called. Anyway, the reason you do these things isn't just for your own benefit, it's for other people's benefit as well. So it's just something to keep in mind. Thought I would also go over a few tips that I have a few nurse friends and actually a friend that works for the CDC who wants to remain nameless, that just gave me some generally good tips. Although if you go to the CDC's website, they have a bunch of like frequently asked questions, a ton of tips, so that's definitely a good resource. This is just sort of a very Cliff Notes version from a non-medical professional. I am not a medical professional. But the first one is wash your hands. It's the one that you hear everywhere. And I think for some people counterintuitively, using soap and warm water is actually more effective than using hand sanitizer. And if your hands are visibly dirty, meaning if you can see stuff on your hands, soap and water is definitely your best bet. And the old standard is for at least 20 seconds with vigorous scrubbing. Don't forget in between your fingers and under your nail beds, just your whole hand. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is to disinfect any high-touch surfaces. Think cell phone, doorknobs, sink taps, microwave buttons. Anything that you touch during the day probably needs to get disinfected. And the CDC's website recommends using either diluted bleach or cleaning products that have at least 70% alcohol. You're gonna do you, but that's what the CDC recommends. And then the third one is learn the symptoms. It's running a fever, a runny nose, a mild cough, and a sore throat. Those are the symptoms, and it sounds a lot like the flu. So if you think you have those symptoms, first isolate yourself. It might not prevent everything from spreading in your household, but it could make a difference. And then call your medical professional and see what they want you to do. Don't run out and go to the doctor's office if you're showing these, or if you do that, at least tell them immediately, hey, these are my symptoms, just FYI. Another tip that I heard somebody say today that I think is really smart is if you know somebody who is highly susceptible to this, so somebody who's elderly, maybe your grandparents, somebody who's immunocompromised, maybe they have really bad asthma or are going through chemo, see if you can help them. Shoot them a text. Hey, do you need me to pick up groceries for you and deliver them to your door? Do you want me to mow your lawn? What errands can you help them with? Because those are the people who really need to stay quarantined and who really probably need some assistance. So take it or leave it, but those are the tips that our household is using through this sort of, crisis, if you will, or, coming crisis. This is something serious, unfortunately, and it is what it is, but this is what we're doing. So hopefully you found something helpful.
Thought we needed to take her bathing suits out for a little test ride. This one's a little big, but we knew it would be. You gotta stay sitting. Look! Do you want to get a towel for when she gets out?
Yes.
The beach ones in the laundry room are clean. What do you think? What do you think? I think we might have to get you a kiddie pool. Oh, the llamas. Stay seated. I was saying, I think we might have to get her a kiddie pool for the summer.
I know.
Just one of the cheapy plastic ones. With some sort of shade element. Trying to escape? Are you trying to escape? See, we did get you a pretty tiny pool. Oh, splashy, splashy. How do you say splash in Spanish? Spanish.
Salpicar.
What is it?
Salpicadero, salpicar. Salpica, salpica. Salpica,
Yay! Yeah, look at those little teeth. Are the bugs trying to get her?
Yes.
Okay, we can go in soon, especially now that the sun's... Did you have fun? Yeah. Okay, let's go warm you up.
Bye.